Hello and welcome into Cave Arena on the campus of Piedmont University for today's Senior Day action between the visiting Agnes Scotties and your Piedmont Lions. Grant Prather, Damian Traylor here with you to present these Senior Day activities about to go on here in a moment. But we also still have a game to cover, Damian.
Absolutely. We're playing against Agnes Scott today. And right now the Lady Lions are looking forward to pick up a win after coming off a loss at Center College this past weekend. So hopefully Lady Lions can pick up this win and, end their senior day with a W.
And before we get to our Senior Day stuff, I do want to go over a couple of things. And that's the first thing is the Lions need to take care of business here today. Do what they need to do. Don't relax. You can't become lackadaisical in what you're doing. You still have a game to play even despite these seniors. But that ties into what you see on the final point I have there, which is have fun. At the end of the day, this is Senior Day. You're celebrating your older players. Their most likely final time here at the Cave. That's a big deal. It's a big thing for confidence of an athlete, and it's a very emotional time. So there's a tendency to be emotional, but besides that, just do what you need to do. Use your home court, and then that front line play can be helped out by that a lot. But it is time to honor some of these seniors. So ladies and gentlemen, at this time we would like to take a few moments to recognize the 2025 Piedmont Volleyball Senior Class. These 7 seniors have helped to guide the Lions to 32 total wins, including 26 CCS victories over the last 4 seasons. This group has earned 12 victories during their career in front of the home crowd here in Cave Arena. In 2023, the Lions recorded an 11-5 mark in conference play, the best conference record of their career. And our first senior from Aurora, Colorado is number 2, Katie Hubbard.
Pointing to the right side. Like more, yeah.
Hubbard has been a consistent starter all 4 years for the Lions, playing in 108 career matches. She has etched her name in Piedmont record books, earning tonight 3rd all-time in career kills. Katie is a 2-time All-CCS second-team honoree and a 2-time member of the CSC Academic All-District team as well. From Aurora, Colorado, number 2, Katie Hubbard. And our next senior from Cherokee, North Carolina is number 7, Aria Forrest. Forrest has appeared in 29 matches over 2 seasons here at Piedmont after transferring in prior to her junior year. She has totaled over 30 kills and is closing in on 20 total blocks for the green and gold. This season, she had a career high with 5 kills and a 4-set home win over Toccoa Falls, while also setting a career best with 4 total blocks. Aria plans to graduate with a degree in criminal justice. From Cherokee, North Carolina, number 7, Aria Forrest. And our third senior from Jackson, Georgia is number 8, Alex Wingate. Wingate has appeared in nearly 50 matches in 3 seasons with the Lions. She has saved her best for last, reaching 100 digs in 2025 alone and setting a new career high with 89 kills so far this season. Recently, she led the team with 8 kills and a CCS victory at Wesleyan. Off the court, Wingate was named to the CCS All-Academic team in 2024. Alex plans to graduate with a degree in healthcare administration. From Jackson, Georgia, number 8, Alex Wingate.
And our next senior from Raybend, Georgia, number 18, Abby Carver. Carver has played in 37 matches in just 2 seasons in the green and gold after transferring in prior to the 2024 campaign. This season, Carver has totaled over 200 digs and currently ranks 4th on the team. This season, Abby has reached double digits in 9 digs 9 times, including a career high of 14 on 3 occasions. Off the court, she was named All-CCS Conference Academic Honors this past summer. Carver plans to graduate with a degree in art education. From Rayburn, Georgia, number 18, Abby Carver. Now on to our 5th senior from Roswell, Georgia, number 21, Zoe Coelho. Coelho has appeared in 78 matches over 4 seasons here at Piedmont, but has enjoyed a breakout season as a senior. Zoe currently leads the conference in total digs with 548 and has been named the Collegate Conference of South Defensive Player of the Week 3 times. Coelho is knocking on the door of 900 career digs while also closing in on 100 career assists and 50 service aces. Earlier this season, she recorded a career-high 30 digs in a 4-set home win over Wesleyan. Off the court, Coelho has earned all CCS academic honors in her career, and Coelho also plans to graduate with a degree in nursing. Congratulations to her. From Roswell, Georgia, number 21, Zoe Coelho. On to our next senior from Cartersville, Georgia, number 23, Kaya Perkinson. Perkinson has played in 42 matches across the 3 seasons in Demarest. She's also saved her best for last, flying over the 100 career kill mark with 84 so far in 2025. She also has a set of career kills, highs in digs, and total blocks this season. Earlier this season, she delivered a career-high 11 kills at Toccoa Falls. Kaya plans to graduate with a degree in marketing. From Cartersville, Georgia, number 23, Kaya Perkinson. And our final senior from Kansas City, Missouri, number 26, Bree Chappelle. Chappelle has played in 40 matches across 3 seasons for the Lions. This season, she eclipsed the 75 career kills mark with 65 coming in 2025 just alone. She's also registered a career-high best 38 digs in her senior campaign. Earlier this season, Chappelle led the way with a career-high 9 kills as a Lions win at Agnes Scott. Chappelle plans to graduate with a degree in applied health science. Kansas City, Missouri, Bree Chappelle, number 26. And ladies and gentlemen, that was your 2025 Piedmont Senior Lady Lions class.
Man, Damian, what a class. This is a very large senior class for a smaller roster. If you look at the ratio of it, 7 seniors to I forget the exact roster size off the top of my head. 3, 6, 9, 12, 13. So majority of the team here is seniors. This is an emotional day. Let's say that.
I would say very much so. But we have a game to play, like you said earlier. So long as not led by emotions, the Lady Lions should come out with a W in this game.
Yep.
But I also want to say congratulations to all those 7 Lady Lions who are soon to graduate within, if not at the end of December, then in the spring. So congratulations to all the Lady Lions out there, and let's have a great game today.
Yeah, big time. I'll come back to what I said. You know, the very bottom point there, have fun. It's senior day. This is a time to be relaxed and enjoy your last time here. We're just a couple minutes away from game time here, 6:57 right now. Game's slated to start at 7, but you never know how these things go, especially with those festivities. They look like they went according to plan.
Yep.
I hope, according to pace. I guess we'll see what's going to happen here. But both teams are lining up as we prepare for the national anthem. Piedmont decked out in black, Agnes Scott decked out in lavender. And we will come right back to you after the national anthem on Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. Welcome back to Piedmont University Athletics on YouTube. I got goosebumps as Sarah Bierke was singing the national anthem. I believe she's a theater major too, so I think that kind of ties in as well. But a great job, a very rare occurrence of a quote-unquote guest appearance for the national anthem, but I'm all here for it.
Absolutely, that was amazing on Bierke's end. I mean, I didn't know she had a voice like that. Her voice is just as good as her game on the court. So I'm really excited for the game approaching. I'm not going to lie, the energy and emotions is very high, and I'm just so excited, man. Let's do it.
Yeah. I was too locked in on the national anthem to unmute it for you guys at home to hear it, but we were blessed here in the cave to hear it. We didn't get an official word on the starting lineups, but we'll call them out as they go. We see Katie Hubbard, the senior, walk on out. Among others, I'd assume it'd be just about all senior starting lineup here today.
Yeah, we're probably going to see Hubbard, Forrest, Wingate, Coelho, Chappelle, Perkinson, the whole nine. Wingate,
yeah, exactly.
Again.
The whole seven.
Whole seven.
Agnes Scott with a seven-person roster. They'll be traveling in with a light group, but you see the seniors for the Lions going up and throwing their shirts out. We see a couple of ZOE 21 posters out there for Miss Coelho having a stellar year. Conference lead in digs.
Yes, she leads with over 500 digs. That is a lot in one season alone. So Coelho's having a very stellar senior season. I'm really excited to see what she can do today.
Yeah, you look at the standings here. I think these are slightly outdated, but the order still remains the same. When this was checked up, Zoe Coelho had 510. Followed up the next one, 382. So a pretty big deal for Zoe to be where she is right now. She's had a great senior season, so big congratulations to her. Rocking the libero white today. Clean little jersey combo here. Lavender for Agnes Scott and black for Piedmont. We're getting underway.
Right now, looking in the standings, Piedmont is standing at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the standings.
Yeah, you look at those things there, like you said, Damien. Piedmont has had a tough conference schedule, but this conference is pretty top-heavy. You can see Asbury at the top with 12-1, Maryville 11-2, Covenant 11-3. So there are some teams that are really going to dominate, but Piedmont, through their struggles, through their tough times, have looked very together, and the future is bright here in Demorest.
Absolutely. Coach Cat with already over 4, not transfers, but incoming freshmen coming in next year.
Yeah.
So, Coach Cat, in her first season, has already been recruiting very heavily. And we're about to start off, ladies and gentlemen, now in the first set. Your Lady Lions.
What did I say? We're behind schedule. Who would have thought?
Yeah, we're
7:02.
7:03. It's just
come on now. If you're on time, you're late. What are we doing out here?
3 minutes behind.
Come on. Let's get it right, guys. Oh well, we're still here.
And the set is up. Here's Lady Lions now. Hubbard getting right into the action. Katie Hubbard, the senior from Colorado, starting it off for the Lady Lions, putting her team up 1 to the Scotty 0. And here's another senior, Coelho, serving. And that will be 2 points already. And Grant, that's what we talked about in the pregame. Once the Lady Lions start off on a hot start, they're usually going to win that set.
Yeah, that was something that I forgot to mention in my keys too. Is just you get that momentum to start off, and it'll bode well for you going on to the rest of the set.
As that was an error on Coelho's end, a net error to be specific. And Madison Stidham, the sophomore out of Villa Rica, Georgia, back to serve for her Lady Scotties. Here's Hubbard. Lemons leads her team in assists to Coelho. And that is in.
I'll tell you what, for Agnes Scott, man, Brianna Brooker, that was a quick serve. She's back to go again, so you'll see her again. Actually, that's not Brooker. That's number 3 for him.
To Hubbard, and Hubbard right off of the hands of Hubbard in the stands, and that will be a point towards Agnes Scott.
Yeah, Stidham, sophomore too, from Villa Rica. Man, she's got a strong arm behind that serve. Good job by number 3.
Stidham leads her team in kills with 69. Here's Carver. Hubbard taps it over and just couldn't get there. That looks like number 2, page 4, the freshman.
A couple early communication errors from Agnes Scott, but you got to imagine that's just getting acclimated with it as you see the senior force check in, as well as Caricato.
Caricato, one of those young superstars you could say in this program. And here she goes. Here's Agnes Scott. Taps it over. It's Coelho on the receiving end. There's Caricado to Daughtery. Daughtery's blocked and hits the net.
And you see a little bit of a, I mean, she smiled it off, a little bit of frustration as she smacked the arm right down after that one. But we have fun out here.
Agnes Scott now takes the lead in this first set, 4-3. Hubbard to Caricado. Forrest hits it over. And Agnes Scott on receiving, and that was Stidham for the dive. And just not even over the net. That was Brooker, the freshman out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, actually. Just can hit it over the net. As that would now tie the game up at 4 apiece for both teams. Here now is Hubbard. Serving. Just over the net. Here's Ford. Hits it over was Agnes Scott. Coelho on the receiving end to Caricado now. Wingate taps it over. And Wingate, she will cash in for her team. This now puts them up 1.5-4 early in this first set. That was a senior Alex Wingate. And Hubbard once more will serve for her Lady Lions. With her team up 1 in this first set. There goes Stidham. Ford taps it up now. Hits, blocked. Lady Lions denied that and said, no, ma'am, as that would now put them up 2. That was Brooker trying to hit, but 2 Lady Lions says, no, ma'am, and that will be Hubbard now serving. Agnes Scott, Stidham, back to Brooker. Brooker taps it over. Caricado on the receiving end. Coelho sets up Forrest. Forrest hits it over. Here's Agnes Scott, and Daughtery says no, and that will give Piedmont another point.
It was close to being a net call for Bailey, so a nice bailout, but you'll take that. Oh, is that a pun? Bailout?
Very.
Is Bailey out? I don't know. I probably should stop talking.
Bailey, Bail,
whatever.
More like 6'7", but we'll get straight to the game. Hubbard serves. Stidham on the receiving end. Ford sets up Brooker. Coelho. Caricado now. Forrest hits it over. Ford there on the receiving end. Stidham taps it over. Caricado there to Coelho. Here goes Wingate. And Wingate just couldn't get over the net. And that will give the Lady Scotties their 5th point of this first set. Here now is Castro, the freshman out of Powder Springs, Georgia, serving for her Lady Scotties. Here's Coelho now. Caricado sets up Daughtery and tapped over. It was a little bit confusion there between Daughtery and looks like Brooker, the freshman, but Brooker will take it this time. And now the score is actually 6-7.
Yeah, I was about to say, you took the words right out of my mouth. You beat me to it. 6-7.
For the kids at home, everybody knows what that means. Here's Hubbard now. Ford, Stidham. And the Lady Lions just couldn't maintain the ball, and that will go out of bounds. Looks like off of the hands of Forrest there, and now the game is tied at 7 apiece.
Tell you what, if you don't know what 6-7 means, you're blessed. You're blessed. You're lucky.
Yes. Here's the Lady Scotties now. Caricado taps it right over with a little bit of a fake. Looked like she's about to set it up for one of her teammates, but says no and taps it over and does the job herself.
Smart play by the young freshman, Caricado, to catch the Scotties off guard. We've seen a lot of that out of people like Coelho, but a good job by Caricado to tap that one just barely over the top. Perfect touch.
Coelho, Carver, Lemons, they all do it. Caricado is just following in their footsteps. Here's Agnes Scott now. And Brooker couldn't get over the net. Now it gives Piedmont a 2-point lead as the momentum shifts right back in the Lady Lions' favor.
Yeah, seeing a lot of back and forth. It's like a seesaw out here. 9-7, it's like 2 points on, 2 points off, 3 points on, etc.
Here's a sophomore Daughtery serving. Stidham off of her hands. And nobody there on the receiving end of that was Miss Sarah Frederick. And a little bit of a miscommunication on that last possession for Agnes Scott. Daughtery back to serve once more. Here's Stidham. Here goes Ford. Agnes Scott hits it over. Off of the arm of Daughtery to Hubbard now. Wingate is there to receive. Here's Agnes Scott. Here goes Ford. Tapped over by Brooker. Caricado now. Hubbard. Forrest. Taps over. Stidham now. Ford sets up. Brooker hits it over. And that is out. point Piedmont, and that now gives them an 11 points in this first set.
How about Bailey Daughtery sticking the arm out, just flailing it over, and she got it. Wow.
Yeah.
That was
I don't know if
cool.
you remember, Grant, in the last game we were broadcasting here, Coelho had a crazy arm hit with her wrist alone, and it went all on the other side of the court.
She's transferring the powers over.
Yeah, literally.
Love it, love it, love it.
Here now is Agnes Scott. It's Miss Frederick serving. Hubbard, Caricato sets up Perkinson. Hits over. Here's Hubbard now. Caricato. Caricato now sets up Wingate, the senior. Wingate just out of bounds, fading too far to her left. That would give Agnes Scotties a point at 9.
And here you go, these 2-point swings, just back and forth and back and forth.
Now, Grant, in this last matchup between Piedmont and Agnes Scott, Piedmont did win 3-0 at Agnes Scott October 7th, just a couple weeks back. And that was hit down straight by Stidham, but it was out, and that will now give Piedmont a 3-point lead early in this first set.
Again, Stidham is great. Just got to find the accuracy. That's a lot of power behind that arm, and it can be very, very dangerous for these Scotties.
Yeah, Stidham with 69 kills on the season so far, leads the team. Here's Ford. Stidham once more, taps it over. Here's Lemons on the receiving end, who leads a team in assists, and Hubbard will take it for herself, but that was out, and that will now give Agnes Scott 10 points in this first set to Piedmont's 12.
And don't let that distract you from the great year that Katie Hubbard's having. Look on your screen, 210 kills on the year, 769 total attacks. Great year for her.
Absolutely. Leads the team actually with 210 kills, like you said. Speaking of Hubbard, though, off of Hubbard's hands and Lemons, that's Wingate that dives for the ball, and the ball goes in the stands.
Look at Coach Purdy over there, AD here at Piedmont, looking like a shortstop, picking up the ground ball. Yeah, athletic director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coach
Shout out.
Purdy does it all. Can't wait to see her team in action in a couple weeks here against Oglethorpe at home. But back to action here. Here's Ford for Lady Scotties. Stidham taps it over. And that will be in, as nobody was there on the receiving end for Lady Lions, as Coach Cat was talking to her team.
Yeah, Lemons and Coelho had a little bit of a miscommunication there. Good placement in the back corner, but there was a huge dead zone. You had 4 in the front line, 2 in the back line. It's not going to work out.
So Agnes Scott now ties the game. Off of Hubbard. Here's Chappelle. It's Coelho. And here are the Lady Scotties. Ford leads her team in assists. Stidham leads the team in kills. Here's Lemons. Sets up Wingate once more. And blocks. But the ball will go in Piedmont's favor. Gives them a 1-point lead, 13-12. As senior Abby Carver will come in for other senior at Wingate.
Yeah, you mentioned the last time these two teams met, Agnes Scott wasn't able to get a set up against the Lions, but they're looking pretty strong here in this opening set, I gotta say.
Absolutely, Agnes Scott coming out with a little bit of, you could say, and that ball actually goes off of, that was Miss Castro's arms. But you could say they want to come spoil the surprise here. Yeah. They want to come spoil senior day for the Lady Lions.
A little bit of a fire they have going on, I'd say.
Play spoiler today.
Exactly.
Here's Carver. Castro. Here to Ford. Here's Stidham. And a little bit of confusion there, and that ball will go straight down as Hubbard couldn't get there, and the point will go towards Agnes Scott. Yeah. Now down 1.
Perkinson got caught in no man's land there in the middle right behind the net. Couldn't track the ball over her head.
And served was Ford off of Coelho's hands to Lemons. Here's Chappelle. And that will be just in or not. Or yes, it will. There's a little bit of confusion there between both of the officials.
Yeah.
But they will give the point to Piedmont, as that now gives Piedmont a 2-point lead in this first set, 15-13. And Coelho. Stidham. Hits over far, way out of bounds. That was off of Miss Brooker, the freshman. Now gives Piedmont a 3-point lead.
Finally able to get a little cushion out of the Lions. It's kind of been 2 points on and off and hard to get comfortable.
Here's Hubbard now. And just out, or just in actually, is Castro off of Castro's arms. Here's Agnes Scott now hitting it over. Here's Carver. Lemon sets up Daughtery. Daughtery hits it straight down. And that will be a point towards Piedmont. And Piedmont now is on a roll, Grant.
Good setup by Aaron Lemons. Yeah, big roll. Good setup by Aaron to hit Bailey Daughtery at the apex of her arm and spike it on down. Beautiful.
Coelho now starts to serve for her team. Ball high in the air. Forward on the receiving end. Here's now Carver for the Lady Lions. Here's Lemons. Hubbard. And just hits the net. And that point will go back to the Agnes Scotties. Grant, like you said earlier in this game, the point differential is going back and forth here.
Yeah, no team can really find an edge here. It's whatever I can do, whatever you can do, I can do better. And we're basically tied this whole way through. It's just been a little bit of a lead for both teams the whole way through.
Here's Lemon setting up to Pell, the senior out of Missouri. And just not over. That was a little bit of confusion there on Daughtery, but she didn't really do anything. The ball went straight down before she can even try to defend it or anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, she had good positioning it there in the middle, just sticking up, getting the 5'10" frame reverse just straight up. And it's like playing defense in basketball, you know, same thing. You just stand up strong and hope for the best. And I would say it's a pretty good outcome.
The Lady Lions now up 4 in this first set. Here's Caricato now, the freshman. And that will hit the net, and that will give a, say, free point to Agnes Scott. That trims the lead down to 3 for those ladies.
Can we get bigger than a 5-point lead for either team? Is that possible?
Right now, it's not, but we'll see. We'll see. We have a lot of more sets coming after this, so.
Yeah.
Here's number 10, Vanderheed, serving for her team, and that now will push the lead back up to 4 for the Lady Lions as 2 straight net errors.
There's a bad example of whatever you can do, I can do better, I guess.
Here's Hubbard now, the senior out of Colorado. She's from the mountains. Serving. Here's Stidham to Ford. Sets up Brooker. Wingate now to Caricato. To Hubbard. Hubbard off of Stidham's hands. And Katie Hubbard showing out in front of her friends and family today for her senior day outing, and she is showing why she is one of the best players in the CCS conference.
Yeah, just so stellar from Katie this year. Like you said, team lead in digs, and just a great girl on and off the court.
Here's Ford. Tapped over, it was Agnes Scott, but Caricato was there. Coelho tips it over. Stidham there on the receiving end to Ford, and just couldn't get there. That was the freshman Brooker. And now Piedmont has a 6-point lead. So Grant, actually, 5 points can happen actually as Piedmont took their lead from 3 to 6 really quick.
Yeah, that was a great awareness by Coelho to tap that on the back and catch him off guard. See if we're able to catch this up correctly. She popped it over. I don't have the right replay set up, but either way, man, that was a good job by Coelho to steal that, and they're up 6 now.
Well, we'll step back. In a short moment, you're watching Piedmont Women's Volleyball on Piedmont Athletics on YouTube. And welcome back, everybody, to Senior Day action on Piedmont Lady Lions Volleyball on Athletics on YouTube, where your Lady Lions are up 21-15 in this first set on the Agnes Scott Scotties. Grant, any takeaways so far?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just been back and forth with the Lions up before that timeout. There's a reason why there was a timeout, and that's because they were pulling away, so they look pretty strong recently.
Here's a senior, Hubbard. Here's Ford now. And a little bit of confusion there who hit the ball for Agnes Scott, but they did it. Here's Caricato now. Ford taps it over, Stidham on the receiving end. Here's Ford now. The Brooker, the freshman, off of Wingate's hands and to the floor. And that will be a point towards Agnes Scott.
I'll tell you what, that's like when you scrape a fork on a plate. It's hard to hear, but Hubbard slid her forearm on the hardwood and it made that noise. That's just, hate it.
Castro now serves for Agnes. Caricato, Wingate. Castro there to Stidham. Tapped over was Agnes Scott. Here's Coelho on the receiving end. Caricato sets up Forrest now, and Forrest hits straight net. And now Agnes Scott coming out of timeout is already up 2-0 on a run.
Are we surprised? Are we surprised that the game keeps going in these runs? I love it. Let's keep it going.
Looks like Coach Trinity in her 3rd season for Agnes Scott taught her team a little bit of a, some might say, lesson, as her team has now scored 3 straight coming out of the timeout to Piedmont 0, and that now takes the lead down to 3, only for the Lady Lions, who was just up 6 before the timeout was called.
And that was a smart serve by Valeria Castro to let it die. They have been going one far, as she'll get one there, but yeah, good job because they were playing through the back line the previous ones.
And here's the senior Kaya Perkinson checking in for Zoe Coelho. The sophomore Bailey Daughtery will now serve for the Her Lady Lions. Here's Stidham now for Agnes. To Ford, back to Stidham. Here's Daughtery to Caricato. Wingate tips it over. Stidham taps it right back off of Wingate to Caricato to Forrest now. Forrest hits it just in. Looks like just in on that left corner over there. And that will now give Lady Lions a 5-point lead and 2 away from winning this first set. Daughtery serves. Here's Agnes. Taps over was Perkinson. Agnes recovers though. Here's Daughtery. Caricato to Katie Hubbard. Hubbard. And Agnes just lets the ball go. It's a little bit of miscommunication there. They're now back down 6.
Game point.
So now a game of runs here in this first set, you can see, Grant.
Yep.
One more point though, and Piedmont sends the second set. Let's see if they can do it right here. Here's Daughtery to Stidham. Here's Ford. Sets up Agnes and just in. Daughtery off of her left wrist, and Wingate hits it, and that's out. And Alex Wingate will send us to the second set in this senior day matchup. Why not cap it off with Alex Wingate's senior performance right there?
Yeah, it's a solid way to end that first set. For the Lions, in their case, it was kind of a rocky first set, but they were able to get their feet down and establish some dominance as they went through that home stretch. Solid.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back for the second set in just a little minute. You're watching Piedmont Women's Volleyball on Piedmont Flex on YouTube. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to your senior day action here at Cave Arena, where your Lady Lions of Piedmont are up 1-0 on the Agnes Scotties, as we're now about to start our second set here at Cave Arena. Grant, we got some stats here. It looks like Katie Hubbard led her team in kills with 4.
Yeah, 7 total attacks for her. Alex Wingate also added 3 of her own for a total of 12 for the Lions as a team, and that was a very solid first set, 25-18.
And yes, sir, we're really excited to see if the Lady Lions could go ahead and take 2-0 on this senior day. And we'll start off with Miss Erin Lemons. Here is forward now for Agnes Scott. And Stidham will start it off for her Lady Scotties and go ahead and get the first point on the board straight away. And they're already getting to it. Is Lady Scotties after they kind of had started off to a slow start in that first set.
Yeah, they kept up with the Lions for a lot of the way, and then once you got around like the 16th, 17th point, started to pull away.
Here's now Agnes Scott, that's forward, sets up Stidham, and Lemons hits it way in the air, but Agnes Scott recovers. Stidham once more hits it over, and she will get 2 straight, and that is Miss Madison Stidham, the junior. She's started the second set out very hot.
Yeah, there's a bit of a dead zone in the middle there for the Lions so far in this set, and Agnes Scott's utilizing it.
Hubbard to Perkinson. Perkinson hits it over. Here's forward. Stidham, can she get third? Coelho is there. Lemons sets up Wingate. Wingate hits it. And that will be in. And Wingate will score the first point for her Lady Lion teammates as she comes out, and Miss Abby Carver, the other senior, will come in. See what Carver can do here. Now serving for the Lady Lions. Down 1 in this second set. Here's Carver to Lemons. Lemons taps it over. Stidham there. Stidham taps it over once more. Lemons to Perkinson. Perkinson hits it. Oh, yeah, she hits it over, and that will be a point towards Piedmont. As it looked like Brooker was about to hit the ball, but it just went over her hands or between her arms, one of the two.
I guess physics forgot to work there. It was just a weird read for both squads, and us up here as well.
And Carver. Here's Castro. Agnes Scott taps it over. Here's Lemons. Lemons sets up Hubbard. Ford there. Brooker to Ford. Ford hits it over. Carver. Here's Lemons. Carver taps it over. Brooker there to Ford and sets up. And Piedmont on the other end. Back to Ford for Agnes Scott. Stidham. Brooker hits the net, and that will give Piedmont their first lead of the second set. 3-2 now.
A little too much juice, a little too excited on that one. I understand it. It was a great rally there from both teams.
Here's Carver now back to serve once more. And off of the hands of Miss Fedrick, saying her bat to her teammates, and now gives Piedmont their 4th point of the second set. Up 2 now.
Got to give that one good credit to Carver and a nice serve.
Lady Lions, after being down 2-0 early, are now up 4-0 or 4-2 on a 4-0 run. Here's Stidham. So Brooker, the freshman, taps it over to Coelho, the senior. Lemon sets up Perkinson. Perkinson off of the hands of Agnes Scott, and Piedmont just couldn't get there. And that now will give them a 1-point lead as the ball just got stuck between 2 Lady Lions and the goal.
Yeah,
in the net.
Chappell and Perkinson had a little bit of a miscommunication as that ball just barely floated over the top of the net. It's a weird one to read, so I get where that would be a tough one to hit off.
And Stidham to Coelho. Here's Lemons now setting up Hubbard. Hubbard straight down, strikes down. It's Katie Hubbard.
I'm going to come back to this. 210 kills coming into this one. Not even that. So she now has 5 so far in this contest. So Katie Hubbard's working with a nice season.
Having a great overall senior season. Caps it off here tonight with their last home game at Cave Arena. But Vanderheed for Agnes Scott couldn't hit it over the net. And that will now give the Lady Lions a 3-point lead, 6-3. Here's Agnes Scott now. Here's Ford. Taps it back to her teammate on Agnes Scott. To Perkinson to Bierke, who sung the national anthem. And once we said once more, she gets a strike down, and that now boosts Piedmont lead up to 1 more.
You can sing her praises on that kill. That was a good one.
Here's Perkison, the senior. Brooker to Castro. And straight up and straight down. Was a little bit of confusion there. Nobody wanted to hit the ball.
Yeah, it was off the third hit, so they knew the inevitable, and that'll warrant a timeout.
Yeah, Coach Trinity's going to need another timeout there, but right now, the Lady Lions are up 8-3 in this second set, but we'll see a little bit more action in just a little bit. You're watching Piedmont Women's Volleyball on Piedmont Flex on YouTube. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Piedmont Women's Volleyball on Piedmont Flex on YouTube, where your Lady Lions are up 1-0 already in this second set right now. We're up 8-3, as here is senior Kaya Perkinson setting up and serving. And that was Bree Chappelle, the other senior from Kansas City, Missouri, with the score. Then that will bring Piedmont's lead up to 6, as Agnes Scott is just kind of out of sorts in this second set, you could say, Grant.
Yeah, the Lions have figured it out now. It took them a second, took them a little buffer period, but they were able to figure out what they needed to do best, and that's why they're up 6.
And this last matchup against Agnes Scott, the Lady Lions beat Agnes Scott in actually 3 straight sets, and right now it's looking that way right now for Agnes Scott. It looks like they might not get a set right now.
Knowing the way that they played in that first set, even if it is a sweep, they'll still play their hardest. They definitely kept up with the Lions for the majority of that last set. Just had a tough run at the end.
Here's Vanderheed selling it way over the net. Here's Lemon setting up to Pell. And straight down. Vanderheed couldn't get it. And Bree, the last 2 points for the Lady Lions. She'll be subbed out as Forrest and Caricato comes in.
It's kind of a meet me at the top both times. Both times able to show off the vert and get a good hit down.
Speaking of Caricato, the freshman sensation, she will now serve for her Lady Lions. And here is Stidham to Ford, and Brooker hits it, and that was Coelho. Carver hits it now. Ford on the receiving end to Stidham. Hits it backwards, and that's Frederick. Hubbard there. Caricato taps it over. Castro there, though. There's Caricato. Coelho. Hubbard hits it off of the hands of Stidham. It's Vanderheed. Stidham hits it now, and that will go down. It was off of Bierke. It looks like off the leg of Forrest. And that will now give Agnes Scott 5.
Yeah, Stidham has had some extremely solid kills so far in this contest. That one came at you probably mid-60s, maybe 67 miles per hour. Shoot.
And Castro hits it, but it will be out, as that now gives Piedmont another 6-point lead. Like you said there, Grin, on that last possession, that ball came very fast at those Lady Lions. I mean, right off of the arm of Bierke and straight down to Forrest's legs. I guess that life comes at you fast in that minute.
Yeah, it's about a 5-foot gap between the ball and the player, too, so that's a hard one to react to.
Here's Ford. Stidham. And down. Caricato off of her hands. And that will now give Agnes Scott another point, and Agnes Scott kind of on a little bit of a run here. And here is Miss Frederick out of Albany, Georgia, the sophomore. Here's Bierke, and Bierke does her big one. Vanderheed just couldn't get there, and now boosts his Piedmont lead to 12-6 in this second set. And Coelho will get us started, and straight over the net and down. A little bit of confusion here right now for Agnes Scott. They're just not hitting the ball or really reading where the ball is going.
Yeah, it was a good serve from Zoe to leave it in the dead zone, getting the lead up from 6-7.
Here's Ford setting up Stidham. And Coelho just hit the floor. And that ball will go down, and Agnes Scott will get that point.
It's a little bit of a get back. after a tough point from Zoe, and she's able to not get her hands on that one. So a good job by Agnes Scott to kill it.
Here's Brooker, freshman out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, serves. And here's Coelho now on the receiving end. Sets up Caricado. Caricado to Hubbard. Hubbard hits it off of the hands of Agnes Scott, and that will go far in the stands. Almost hitting a couple ladies there in the stands. Luckily it didn't. And that will give Piedmont their 14th point in the second set, up 7.
And it might be mentioned, a great turnout here at the Cave. There's a lot of good fans out here, especially for a Tuesday night nonetheless.
Here's Lemons. And that point will go to Piedmont. Piedmont's scoring very quickly, you could say, at this point in time.
Yeah, pretty short rallies from both teams.
Lemons will try again. Just over the net. Stidham hits it over. Lemons right there and just faded back. Couldn't get to hit the ball with enough might. And that would now boost Piedmont's lead to only 7. Agnes Scott with 8 on the board. Piedmont with 15. Here's Miss Page for the freshman out of Lilburn. Serving, and the ball just kind of flopped over the net as Piedmont couldn't handle it. And Agnes Scott now another point. Forward hits it. Hubbard there. Lemons. And the ball is in the air for a long time, but it gets over to Agnes Scott's side. Forward sets up Stidham. Stidham hits it over. Coelho there. And that will be another point towards Agnes Scott. On a run now is Agnes Scott.
Smart play by Stidham. She's gone a lot more straight down or in front of the, like trying to go on the Lions logo, but a good job to bury that one in the corner, and Coelho couldn't get the correct read on it.
And here's Coelho now. Lemons. Wingate, and it's blocked. And now Piedmont might be in a little bit of a danger as Agnes Scott has scored the last 4 points. Page forward, serves it way out of bounds, and that will give Piedmont a point they're looking for. And Carver will now also check in for Wingate. Here's Wingate now. Off of the hands of Brooker, but Stidham there. And Castro hits it over, and that will be out of bounds once more. And now Agnes Scott kind of losing their momentum as Piedmont now had the last 2 points in this second set.
Yeah, the seesaw keeps moving. You see a lot of these strung together points. It seems like the team serving usually has a huge advantage.
And out of bounds, almost hitting another fan in the stands.
Watch out.
Ball goes off of a lady Scotty. Looks like a little girl there sitting on the floor. The ball almost hit. Luckily it did it. As Abby Carver here, the senior. Here's forward, Stidham. Been saying her name a lot lately, but it's not on a good side for that one. That ball goes out, and Piedmont now 19-11 lead.
It's funny, you can see this sign that I believe Abby Carver's dad's holding up there in the top of the bleachers. It says Aces on it.
We also see a sign over there that says "We love Abby." It's like a little sister holding that one up. But
two signs in this economy? Wow.
Piedmont on fire right now, and Coach Trinity for Agnes Scott will need another timeout. Piedmont now up 20-11. We'll be back for the final bit of this second set. You're watching Piedmont Women's Volleyball on Piedmont Flex on YouTube. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Senior Day action here at Cave Arena. where your Piedmont Lady Lions are up 20 to the Agnes Scott 11. In this second set, Piedmont Lady Lions already up 1 set and can clinch 2 sets with 5 points. Basically a game to 5 for them. And here's Abby Carver serving off of the hands of Frederick to Castro to Ford. Carver off of Lemons, Chappelle. And that will be out. And that will go to Agnes Scott as that gives them their 12th point in this second set.
Something we saw out of the timeout they called in the first set, is a good run coming out of there, able to game plan, and that's a good example of that. Hopefully for the Scotty, who's able to continue that.
Here's Coelho. Lemon sets up Perkinson, taps it over to where no Lady Scotty was at. Now gets Piedmont their 21st point. It looks like here, you could say All-American singer at this point, Sarah Bierke, comes in for Zoe Coelho. And here is Kaya Perkinson, the senior, serving. And just off of the hands of Miss Frederick, that'll give Piedmont a 10-point lead now in this second set, 22-12. Perkinson serves once more. Off the hands of Brooker. Here's Ford, setting up Stidham. Stidham taps it over. Perkinson to Lemons, to Hubbard, Hubbard to Stidham. And here goes Castro, hits it over. Hubbard on the receiving end. Lemons sets up Chappelle. Chappelle taps it over. Stidham there. Brooker. And that point will go to the Lady Lions.
Yeah, I had to clarify there between the line judges. Looked like it could have been a possible net call, but Lions come out of that one.
A little bit of a decision there on who gets the point, but the line judges gave it to Piedmont. So that now gives them 23. 2 more points, and we're on to the third set. But here's Stidham for Agnes Scott, and hits the net. And that now gives Piedmont 24 to the Agnes Scott Scotties 12. Kaya Perkinson will lead off. Just over the net, Agnes Scott recovers off of Carver's hands to Lemons. Hubbard, can she do it? Here's Stidham. Here's Ford now. Back to Stidham. Way over, and that is, looks like that is a point towards Piedmont, and that will close it out. Stidham hits it a little too far and then goes out of bounds as her coach, Miss Trinity, telling her just hit it a little bit lighter. But your Lady Lions are up 2-0 on this senior day. Congratulations to them so far. They're on a fire, but we'll be back in a short moment for this third set. You're watching Piedmont Lady Lions Volleyball on Piedmont Athletics on YouTube. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Piedmont Lady Lions Volleyball on Piedmont Athletics on YouTube, where it is senior day. And the Lady Lions are up 2-0 on Agnes Scott. And right now, Grant, let's take it over right now, brother.
Yeah, all seniors playing pretty well. Katie Hubbard has 6 kills right now, 14 total attacks. Shout out Madison Stidham, though, for the Scotties. 9 kills on 25 total attacks. One thing I do want to mention before we get into this third set is the standings we look at here. Again, we talked about these earlier, but it's good to get a refresher. Piedmont has had a rough year, as with Agnes Scott, but Piedmont on the verge of their 3rd conference win in a switch-up year. You know, you got a new head coach, a lot of seniors leaving the offseason, so for momentum, these last type of games where you're able to get some confidence wins are a good thing to see.
And this could potentially be the last set in Cave Arena right now for the Lady Lions, as they're up 2-0. Obviously, this is our last game with it being senior day. Last home game specifically, with it being senior day. So right now, let's just make the most of it.
Yeah, like I said earlier, there's a lot of emotions that go into days like today. I think those really start to come in when the game's done. In the game, you're still locked into the usual mode that you have when you step out there, but when it's over and then you can kind of look at all the parents, all your friends in the stands, it starts to hit you a little bit. It's not the most fun feeling in the world, but you realize that you had fun over these moments you've had here, the however many years that these girls have played here.
And speaking of Madison Stidham, she's actually about to start it off for the third set. Here's Katie Hubbard, the senior. It's Frederick to Ford. Ford sets up Frederick. Frederick taps it over with a little bit of her palm. Here's Coelho now to Hubbard. Hubbard strikes straight down. Taps over was Ford. See, Carver sets up Lemons, and Zappel says, I'll get the first point for the third set.
What a dig by the Scotties there. That looked like an easy kill for Hubbard, but a great read and standing strong for the purple jerseys.
And Coelho, speaking of digs, leads the conference with 548. That is a crazy number in one season alone. Here's Ford to Stidham. Coelho. Lemon sets up Hubbard and goes straight down as Lady Scotty's just going to get there, and that now gives Piedmont 2.
Coelho also adding 9 digs today, might be mentioned. So for, I guess, ratio's sake, it doesn't look like a lot, but she's had a great impact today.
Stidham. Tapped over was Brooker, the freshman. Here's Lemons, the sophomore for Lady Lions, and Hubbard gets blocked, and that will go to the Lady Scotties of Agnes. Now give them their first point of this third set. That was Vanderheed. And here's Ford, the lead leader in assists for Agnes Scott, serving. Here's Coelho, taps it over to Vanderheed. Ford screaming, I got it to her teammates, to Stidham. Here's Lemons. And Coelho just couldn't get there. And Agnes Scott ties this game up early in this third set at 2 apiece.
One of those tough instances, Damien, where it's hard to get a good read on it because usually Hubbard's the outside hitter there and Coelho will be the one to set her up. So Hubbard had to back off and hope for that setup, but it didn't work out.
And speaking of Hubbard, off of her hands, and Daughtery taps it over, and she'll get that. Actually, a little bit of confusion there. Daughtery thought it wasn't about to go to her, but it goes to her team, and now give them a 1-point lead early in this third set at 3.
Yeah, she was lucky enough to have it hit off 2 of the Scotties there and go right out.
And here's Caricato now, the freshman.
Plays like a senior. He almost said sophomore. Plays like a senior.
Yeah, Caricato plays very experienced for her. You could say class in age. Here's Agnes Scott. Tapped way over was Brooker, the freshman. And that gives Piedmont their 4th point of this third set.
I'll mention part of the crowd again here too, Damien. One thing I noticed, there's a lot of jackets. It's wintertime, basically. It's sub 50. I love this weather.
Yes, it was very cold and rainy outside today. And it was yesterday, and it's a little cold in here.
Yeah, that's why we're playing soccer just next door at the WAC today. It was supposed to be at Toccoa Falls, but their grass field can't keep up with all that dang rain we got yesterday. Goodness.
And here is Vanderheed serving for the Lady Scotties. Now down only 1. Here's Caricato, sets up Forrest. Forrest hits it. Vanderheed And Stidham hits it, but that will go out of bounds. And Agnes Scott down 2 early in this third set. And a substitution here is senior for senior. Alex Wingate comes in for Abby Carver. And here is the senior Katie Hubbard from the mountains in Colorado.
It's a long drive.
Very, very long.
Long drive. But we mentioned Vanessa Monzo in the last broadcast too, and it's a similar situation. Colorado and Arizona aren't too far off, at least in distance here.
And Hubbard went between, just straight past Brooker, and looks like off of Stidham's hands or wrist. A little bit of confusion there between the Lady Scotties, and Coach Trinity will need a timeout. Only down 3 early in this third set, Grant. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I guess you don't want it to get out of hand too early if you're the Scotties, so just stop while you're ahead, or behind 3, but stop while the going is somewhat good, and the going is not bad.
Well, we'll be back in a short moment. You're watching Piedmont Women's Volleyball and Piedmont Athletics on YouTube. Welcome back to the action, ladies and gentlemen. Your Lady Lions are up 6-3 early in this third set. Already up 2-0 on his Agnes Scott Scotties. Here's his senior Katie Hubbard now, starting to serve right out of the timeout. And straight down. The same miscommunication problems that Agnes Scott had before the timeout, they are now having afterwards, Grant.
And this time, the timeout backfired. You kind of lost your mojo, lost a little bit of your focus and that timeout, but I'm sure they'll be able to get it right back.
Lady Lions are now up 4. And Stidham, 4 tips it right over, but that was an error on Ford's behalf. And that will now give Piedmont a 5-point lead.
Just barely tipped the net. That was a close one.
Hubbard, the senior, has been pretty on fire since she's been serving just over the net that time, though. Here's Stidham, taps it over. Coelho leads the team and digs. And Wingate off of the hands of a couple of Scotties. And the lead will now be pushed up to 6 for the Lady Lions.
The same thing we saw last set, 9-3 through the first 12. So hopefully the Lions are able to repeat and get a senior night sweep.
Yes, with this set 1, Lady Lions will have a Seniors Day sweep on their hands for this 2025 season. But speaking of it, Lady Lions are inching closer and closer. Stidham hits it off of Daugherty's hands. That will be in. Now give them a 7-point lead, 10-3.
At this rate, you might be able to watch the first pitch of the World Series after this game's over. Goodness.
Or we can go down the stairs, make that left, back down those luxurious stairs at the Walker Field and watch those Lady Lions of the soccer team play Toccoa Falls.
True.
And that was off of Stidham once more. And the Lady Lions are just throwing hammer after hammer, and Agnes Scott is not recovering.
I'm going to need you guys at home to tune in on Saturday as well. Piedmont women's soccer with a playoff game versus, I believe, LaGrange. I think it starts at 2, but PiedmontLions.com. Stay posted.
Here's Ford, Stidham, Caricato, Coelho, Wingate, and off of the hands of Miss Vanderheed to the stands. And another timeout will be needed. That will be Agnes Scott's second of this set alone, 4 overall. And the Lady Lions are up 9-12-3 in this third set. But we'll be back in a short moment. You're watching Piedmont Women's Volleyball on Piedmont Athletics on YouTube. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Piedmont Lady Lions Volleyball on Piedmont Athletics on YouTube, where your Lady Lions are up in this third set, 12-3. And overall, they're up 2 sets already. This third set, it's pretty much looking like a sweep.
Yeah, looking to close this thing out early. Like I said, get out of here maybe to watch some soccer after this one. But more importantly, you got to watch these girls finish it out senior day, so their last home game here at Cave Arena.
Here's Stidham, hits it. Speaking of senior, it was Coelho to Caricado to Daughtery. Stidham hits it forward. Brooker hits it way over Lady Lions, and that will be out. That now boosts the lead up to 10 for Piedmont.
Look at the great bounce pass by Zay Flicks to Katie Hubbard, though. Wow, solid.
The photographer, student photographer, well known around the Demorest, Georgia, takes all the sports flick pictures, as he would say, flicksters, for the school. But Piedmont will now get another point, as that now is 14-3. And Katie Hubbard is over there talking with her coach mid-conversation while she's serving. Serves Hubbard. And that will be in, as the Agnes Scotties just didn't even approach the ball.
It was a nicely placed one, and going back to what you said about the conversation, it's like Michael Jordan shooting a free throw blindfolded. He doesn't care about a distraction. You just put it right in the left side. That's perfect. Did you like that joke? I think you did.
Here's Hubbard. Here's Agnes Scott. Here's Caricado. Forrest taps it over to Brooker, to Stidham, to Coelho. Here's Wingate, taps it over to Ford. Here's Brooker. Stidham taps it over and hits it, and that will be a point towards Agnes Scott. A well-needed point. They haven't scored in a little bit. That gal gives them 4 in this third set.
Yeah, the Lions have a lot of red circles under them. Their takeovers activated so far in this third set. I'm pulling references out of my hat like a magician with a rabbit right now. I'm on a heater.
Here's Castro now serving. Off of Coelho's hands is Caricado, and Daughtery hits it. Blocked, but she hits it back. Tapped over is Wingate and just couldn't get there. And now Agnes Scott has now scored 2 straight points. Might be a little bit of a, you could say, light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Castro just on the side of the net, it looks like. That point will go to Piedmont. Piedmont now is 16 to Agnes Scott 5 in this third set. And Daughtery will now go ahead and serve for her Lady Lions. The sophomore starts it off, and off of the hands of Miss Frederick for Agnes Scott. Agnes Scott right now in treacherous waters, down 12. Already down 2 sets to 0. Here's Daughtery. Once more serves. Off of Ford. Stidham. Caricado. Forrest. Castro. Frederick. Over and out. Or was it in? A little bit of confusion there between Daughtery and Forrest, as the point will go to Agnes Scott. One of the only mistakes Piedmont has had today, actually, in this game overall. Yeah,
the first set was a little bit rocky for him too, but one of those kind of head scratchers that we didn't see a lot of.
Caricado hits it in the sky. Wingate's on the receiving end, but they let it go, and that will go to Agnes Scott once again, and that now gives Agnes Scott 7 in the third set.
I would tell you how the women's soccer's game going, but the Piedmont Wi-Fi is not working, and I can't exactly take a step out into this cold weather to go check the scoreboard and come back in time.
And Perkinson strikes down and gives Piedmont another point. That was Kaya Perkinson, the senior, on her senior day. As Piedmont now has 18 to the Lady Scotty's 7 as Aaron Lemons, the sophomore, taps it over. Castro hits it under the net. It's not the rules in volleyball, you could say. Not that I believe.
You can kind of see the roster size for Agnes got backfiring a little bit, but got to give it to these group of 6 that's been out there the whole time. They have played their heart out.
Here's Ford. Stidham off of the hands of Aaron Lemons. Even though Agnes Scott has kind of had, you know, some ups and downs in this game, Stidham has been very consistent.
Yeah, they have a lot of good talent on this team. Just got to refine it a little bit, but yeah, you got to give it to them. They have not backed down. They won't go away. They don't give up.
Yeah, Stidham, a junior. And once more, off of the hands of a Lady Lion, and Agnes Scott now on a little run of their own. Here goes Brianna Booker out of Stone Mountain, Georgia, serving for her Lady Scotties. Caricata, or Lemons, taps it over. Stidham rejects it, sends it to the floor.
And again, Stidham playing very solid. That was a smart play to able to grab it at the top and not when you expect it.
And Hubbard, Lemons, Wingate. Off of the hands of Agnes Scott Scotty. And here's Perkinson now. Lemons sets up Chappelle and hits the net. And that will give Agnes Scott their 11th point of this third set. Still down 8, but Agnes Scott slow, you could say, climbing back into the race. Coelho, Hubbard. Wingate, Agnes Scott now. Here's Ford, leads the team in assists to Stidham. Very consistent in this game, but that was an error on her part. She hits it out of bounds and now gives Piedmont 20 points. 5 points away from closing not just the third set out, but this great, amazing luxury senior day.
Could very well be the last time you see Alex Wingate on here if the Lions are able to get 5 straight points down.
Speaking of a senior, here's Abby Carver serving. Agnes Scott, here's Ford. Taps it over to Stidham, and Stidham will go ahead and get that point for her Lady Scotties team, the junior. Out of Villa Rica, Georgia. Here's Lemons to Hubbard, strikes down, but Frederick is there on the receiving end. Here's Brooker to Ford. Ford taps it over to Perkinson for the Lady Lions. Lemons sets up Perkinson. Perkinson will strike down. Gives Piedmont 21. And Daughtery will come in for Perkinson, and that might be her last time on the court for Lady Lions today. Here's Ford. Stidham. Carver. Lemons, who she sets up. That's Chappelle. Yes, it is. Stidham dives. Ford. Tapped over was Brooker. Lemons there. Coelho taps it over. Stidham there to Ford. Agnes Scott holding their own right now in this possession. And Daughtery says she will hit it off of the hands of Brooker, and down it goes. That gives Piedmont a 10-point lead in this third set. 22-12, 3 points away. And this third set will be a sweep for the Lady Lions in a third conference win on the season. Daughtery to Castro. Here's Carver. Lemons sets up Daughtery. Daughtery hits it. Castro there. Stidham taps it over to Coelho. Lemons with her right hand. What an effort by Aaron Lemons.
Yeah, despite that violation, yeah. Good job by Aaron, slide on the one knee.
You see why these ladies wear knee pads now, because, man, I would imagine that court burn right there.
Ugh.
Here's Stidham. Taps it over, and that point will go to Agnes Scott. Coach Tatum was confused there.
Well, I mean, I mentioned in the pregame keys, don't relax. And that's one of the few times that the Lions haven't taken that in. Just a weird read by Coelho, getting a little bit too lackadaisical, but you're 2 points away. Just got to finish these 2 points strong and get out of here.
Up 10. Here's Caricato, the freshman. Up, the ball goes off of Brooker to Frederick to Stidham, the star of Agnes Scott. And Forrest and Coelho both hit it. Caricato sets, bumps into Forrest. was Daughtery. Looks like Kirikata was setting up Daughtery, but Forrest kind of stepped in the way there. A little bit of miscommunication there on Piedmont's end.
Nothing a little practice won't fix.
Here's Agnes Scott now serving. Kirikata sets up Daughtery. Daughtery hits it, and that will be out. And that now gives Agnes Scott 15 to Piedmont 23. Lady Lions need 2 points to close this game out. Here's Vanderheed to Carver. Kirikata sets up Hubbard. Hubbard strikes it down, but Stidham there. Ford. Stidham. Coelho. Kirikata sets up Forrest. Forrest hits it, and that point will go. Forrest makes up for her mistake not too long ago, and she gives Piedmont another point. 1 point closer
and that'll
the end.
And that'll be the last time we see Abby Carver unless Agnes Scott's able to get 12 straight. So great job by her today.
And here is Katie Hubbard, the senior, meant so much to this program. Can she close it out? Off of Stidham to Ford. Stidham hits it, and Stidham will hold this game up just a little bit longer. Gives her team 16, and the lead is now 8 for Piedmont, 24-16. Here's Castro, the freshman out of Powder Springs, Georgia. Hits it. Here's Coelho, taps it over, and that will give Piedmont the W. Zoe Coelho ends it on this senior day. Congratulations to Zoe Coelho and the rest of the seniors of Piedmont. That was a beautiful way to end it.
It was poetic. I think that's a good way to put it. Coelho with doing what she does best, really, bearing it on that left corner. And like you said, Damien, a great job to end it. A good sweep. Lions handedly took all these 3 sets. And yeah, a big round of applause for all these seniors. You mentioned Coelho, Alex Wingate, Bree Chappell, Aria Forrest, Kaya Perkinson, Katie Hubbard, of course, and Abby Carver. Just a great job by all these girls and a good contribution for their time here in Demorest.
Absolutely. Well, even though it is senior day for Lady Lions, their season is not over. They will travel all the way to Maryville, November 1st, and at Delhaven. They're playing in a tri-match.
Yeah, those tri-matches are always weird, and you can never really tell where exactly they're traveling, at least if you look on paper. And that will be in Mississippi, so they're going to have to travel a long, long ways. 6-7 hour drive to get over there. My goodness, that's going to be a little bit painful, but good to be able to get a good night's rest tonight after getting a solid sweep on this Tuesday evening. Well, Damien, I believe we are out of time here. As you see the crowd start to trickle out. They want to go watch women's soccer. They probably want to go watch the World Series. Heck, I do too. But hope you enjoyed watching Piedmont women's volleyball and their senior day tonight. Once again, a final congratulations to all of these tremendous seniors. And the Lions take the sweep, but we're out of time. So for Joseph Garwood, Eric Edmondson, and the amazing athletic communications crew there down on the table and at the whack too, getting the work in. Zach Avila on the camera. Damian Traylor by my side. My name is Grant Prather, saying hope you have a great rest of your Tuesday night, a great week, and as always, go Lions.